Breaking news right now. The TBI has issued an endangered child alert for this 3-year-old, Eric Monty. The child was last seen at his home in Oakdale out of East Tennessee. Eric is believed to be with his mother's boyfriend in an older model red Mercedes sedan. The toddler's believed to be in danger. Call police if you know where they are or if you spot them.
Amy, some breaking news. Also, we're watching a death investigation underway now in East Nashville. A man died after he was stabbed in the neck. News Channel 5's Dan Kennedy working this one. He's along South 4th Street, and that's apparently where this body was found. Do they have any information, police, on this case at this point, Dan?
No, they're still working to identify this man. They tell neighbors, police are telling neighbors, that they believe he's been staying in one of these apartments at this MDHA property, but they still don't yet have a name on him. If they do, they haven't yet released it, pending notification of next of kin. They also believe he's in his 30s or 40s, and he was only wearing a t-shirt and boxers when he was discovered by a neighbor who came outside and found the body next to this dumpster. He was still breathing when paramedics arrived, but he was unable to give them much information at all. I'm told police were arrived on this scene over on South 4th Street in East Nashville within 1 minute. The call coming out just before 2 o'clock this morning. They applied pressure to this stab wound to his neck and then took him to Vanderbilt Medical Center. He was set to undergo emergency surgery, but doctors unfortunately pronounced him dead shortly upon arrival. And detectives back to ground zero and square one as they work to piece this all together. They have talked with eyewitnesses, folks who live in this complex, but right now they're also working to obtain any potential surveillance that could have captured the crime from across the street, something they're going to be working on throughout the day. But of course, one of the biggest questions right now they have is who is this man and who was he with in the hours leading up to his death? Reporting live in East Nashville, Dan Kennedy, News Channel 5.
Thank you, Dan. Also, at least one suspect is still on the run after an intense overnight search in the Bellevue area. News Channel 5 Sophie Nielsen-Colding joins us live from Metro's West Police Precinct. And Sophie, these agencies, a lot of them involved in this investigation, had the helicopter out trying to find these guys.
Right, agencies including the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. They were out there investigating at that scene along with officers from Metro's West Precinct, and Hendersonville Police Department was out there as well. We've got some video from that scene out in Bellevue. This is the area where that search was really focused around, and it kind of ended up at the Forest Park Apartments there on Highway 70 South. If you live there, you probably heard some commotion. We saw that intense search happening. K-9 officers were out trying to track down the scent of we've heard 4 suspects, plus Air 1, that Metro Police helicopter, trying to track them down. We heard that they arrested at least 2 people, at least 1 on the property there. We are trying to figure out who these people are. Also at the scene, there was a white Nissan Altima with South Carolina tags being towed away, had some damage to the front and side of the car. Now, since the ATF was out there as well, we are trying to find out if these suspects, because we know that they were involved in a commercial burglary and a carjacking, trying to find out if they were responsible for one of the recent smash and grabs that we've seen at gun stores in the area. We have reached out to ATF and Hendersonville Police to try to find that out. When we find out, we will pass it along to you. Live in Nashville, Sophie Nielsen-Colding, News Channel 5.
Sophie, thanks. Let's talk about that congressional shooting that happened yesterday morning. President Trump paid a visit to the injured House Majority Whip Steve Scalise in his Washington, D.C. hospital room. Scalise, one of 4 people shot yesterday morning as the Republican baseball team was practicing in Alexandria, Virginia. The president and the First Lady also visited the Capitol Police officer, Crystal Griner, who was also shot. She was one of 2 officers shot. Capitol Police killed the gunman, identified as 66-year-old James Hodgkinson. The 57th congressional baseball game will go on as planned tonight at Washington Nationals Park. The annual game raises money for charity. Much more on the story coming up on News Channel 5 Plus in just a bit.
And Steve, the TBI is investigating a deadly officer-involved shooting in West Tennessee. This one happened last night in Summerville. Authorities say 2 officers responded to a 911 call that said a man was armed, drunk, and suicidal. When they arrived, Michael Morris took out a knife and threatened them. The officers apparently tried to subdue the 54-year-old with non-lethal force several times, but the situation escalated. At least one of the officers shot him. He died at the scene. The officers involved have not been identified. And the search continues today for the 2 Georgia fugitives accused of killing 2 corrections officers in an escape from a prisoner transport bus this week. They are believed to be in this Ford F-250 with Georgia plates, stolen out of Atlanta. Investigators say Ricky DeBose and Lewisburg native Donnie Rowe are dangerous criminals. A $90,000 reward is offered in that case.
A fatal crash over in Wilson County is now under investigation. Happened last night along the state road south of I-40. We've reached out to the Highway Patrol for more info on that crash.